Techlandia is recorded at the Central Office on the East Side in Portland. Central Office is a one stop for all your office or meeting needs. Check them out at centraloffice.com. Welcome to Techlandia, a podcast about and for the technology industry, a place to learn, connect, and engage with leaders and thinkers involved in the technology industry. You can check us out at techoregon.org, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the latest episode of Techlandia, TAO's regular podcast series. I'm Skip Newberry, President and CEO. And with us today, we're excited to have as our featured guest, Juan Barraza. Juan, by way of background, is the recent recipient of the Tech Champion Award at last year's Oregon Tech Awards. Juan, we're excited to have you on the episode. Thanks for joining us.
Skip, thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's what better way to start the year, right? To just chat about technology, community, and everything that happened around Oregon and beyond, right?
Exactly. So I thought it'd be good maybe to start off with, just providing some background. You're the new leader of Latino Founders, and we can talk a bit about some of the work that you're doing and what you're seeing ahead, both for the organization and the region's innovation ecosystem. But before we do that, I thought it'd be great to ask you to, share a little bit about your own journey, both your professional background and sort of what brought you to this role.
Yeah. No, thank you. Well, depending on the audience, I'll say either I'm an entrepreneur recovery or accidental academic. As we all remember, we always have our economic downturns, and when the housing crisis hit, a lot of us were looking for new ways to start businesses. So my last venture in digital health brought me to the PSU Business Accelerator, which connected me to the startup ecosystem that was nascent back in the day, 10, 12 years ago. I get to meet a lot of folks, Linda Weston from OEM back in the day, you, Rick Turoxi, Stephen Green, Mitch Dougherty from Built Oregon, and quickly realized that was a very friendly startup ecosystem where if I, as entrepreneur and founder, I wanted to talk to some of those CEOs that already had funding or success. It was just as easy for me to email them, ask them for a cup of coffee, and they will invest time. They will invest time to talk to me about do's and don'ts and best practices and share the journey with me. I found that very refreshing. Having grew up in Mexico City, and in Texas, the environment is totally different, right? If you are not connected, people don't talk to you. Here in Portland and Oregon, that's not the case. It's still not the case. We are very friendly, very open to share our best practices. While I was doing that, I also realized that there wasn't many Latino entrepreneurs participating in the ecosystem, not because we were not creating businesses. We were just doing our thing and nose to the grind and not looking to other areas. So I launched Startup Weekend Latino with the help of Edgar Navas and other folks, just to bridge our communities, our Latino community, entrepreneurial community, and the startup ecosystem. That led to Pitch Latino, taking that page from the playbook from Stephen Green and Pitch Black. And couple years into that, we know COVID hit, and we were asking how else can we support the community. We created Latino Founders. We launched an accelerator program right after COVID. We done 2 cycles for cohorts. First year we did 9 companies. This last year in 2024, 32, and we decided to formalize it. That's when Gabriel Flores, our board president, approached us and said, you know what, you are serious about this, let's structure it, get it a foundation where we can have this body of work helping our community, not just in Oregon, but above in the region. So Um, we just opened a new space in Southeast, our incubator space. And I'm the first executive director to continue leading the work and continue growing this effort.
Excellent, excellent. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the mission of Latino Founders. How would you kind of capture that for our audience?
Yeah, our goal is to support 100 Latino entrepreneurs to raise to achieve $1 million in annual recurring revenues. The rationale behind is twofold. One, if you are making $1 million in annual recurring revenues, regardless of the sector, the likelihood that the founder will be able to pay themselves a market rate salary is greater, right? That you are able to pay your employees competitive hourly wages and benefits, that also increases. And that contributes to the generational wealth of the community, but contributes to the economic development of the region. We all know that we have ups and downs in our economy. And when the big employers in our area decide to do layoffs, there's a huge impact to everybody around. But if we diversify that economic development among 100, 200, 300 businesses that do $1 million and plus a year creating jobs, if one of those businesses goes down, because that's the nature of being in business, sometimes things don't work out as planned, the impact to the economy and the region is lesser. So our goal is generational wealth, contribute to the growth of our economy, but also the ability to be able to tap into new opportunities to develop businesses or sectors in Oregon.
That's fantastic. I love the fact that there's a quantifiable aspect to the mission where it's clear. You get to $1 million in revenue, and a lot of great things happen. I think at least what we're seeing and have seen in technology, especially over the last decade, with lower interest rates fueling a lot more funding and availability of capital for some companies, has been sort of a bit of a challenge in that companies started to think, oh, well, our goal is to get funding. Well, maybe a short-term goal, but the longer-term goal, it's really going to have all the impact, is really around a sustainable business and building it, and that comes with revenue. And oftentimes, if you get to the revenue, even without the funding, even better, right? So I'm wondering, as you're seeing the different types of companies that you're working with Latino Founders in terms of different companies by sector, do you see differences between sort of their funding needs and what does that look like in terms of the Oregon market?
Yeah. Well, funding always is tricky, right? Everybody, when you ask entrepreneurs what they need, the first thing that comes out is funding, right?
Right.
And depending on the sector, if it's a technology company, the software, their go-to is angel investing, private capital that understands that space. And this, when you look at all the investment funds, angel investing or VCs, the bulk of their portfolio is software, right? And quotation mark, it's easier for them to get a little bit of funding. If you are in a capital intensive sector, athletic and outdoors, food and bev, climate or hardware, that's a little trickier because we need to de-risk the business to be attractive for funders. So when I look at the capital stack, I always encourage the founders to be pro revenue, figure out how to get the first dollars in from actual customers. And that's the best way to fund their company, even in early stages. But even when they do that, state dollars, federal dollars, SBIR funding, EDA funding, NSF funding is always a good strategy to diversify funding early on, especially when those federal dollars don't take equity in the company and allows you to iterate in a prototype or the first stages of the company product or services. Um, in terms of sectors, Oregon, we have a lot, right? We have food and bev is definitely strong. Athletic and outdoors, just for the nature of the companies that are headquartered here, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Columbia. We see a lot of activity there. Obviously, technology, Intel, and Pierre being here also driving a lot of that. Climate, I think, is something that has caught our attention the last couple of years, with federal funding coming from Biden administration to support energy initiatives and the risk, our dependency on fossil fuels and energy. I think that's something that we all thinking about later in Oregon, and especially when we see climate events, either forest fires or winter events where we have a big freeze and we lose power. It's got us thinking, well, what are what will be the impact of our state and our economy will have access to energy, right? So I think the energy sector is interesting. And of course, services. Always the supply chain of services that feed into those industries is always, sometimes is overlooked.
That's really, really great. I think, as you look at outside of the Portland metro area, one of the challenges that Oregon faces, and it's not unique, other states have it too, where there's like one or two major metro areas, and then you've got the rest of the state. In many cases, the state economic development agency will try to kind of rebalance things in terms of where it provides resources to help companies to make sure that not all the eggs are in the metro basket, so to speak. As you think about the communities you're serving with Latino Founders, what does that demographic makeup look like in terms of geographic diversity around the state?
Obviously, the bulk of it is in the metro area, the Tri-County area here in Portland, but it's a lot of opportunities down in the valley, Salem, the Willamette Valley. I'm gonna be in Medford in the next couple days, talking to folks there. Southern Oregon, definitely an opportunity. Eastern Oregon, I think is rich for opportunity in La Grande, Ontario area, where it's a lot of presence of the Latino community that they're creating businesses. And the beauty of those businesses, either in Southern, Central, and Eastern Oregon, they have this solve a problem at the local level. They can be utilized somewhere else in the country or in the region. So that's exciting, but we have to go there and meet with those folks and know that utilizing technology, like to connect with the other resources outside the area, is something that they can leverage to be able to continue growing their business locally and bring jobs to those regions.
Yep. And I had the opportunity to tour your beautiful new space in Southeast Portland, and I'm wondering what role does kind of the physical presence play with respect to some of the programs that you all are rolling out?
Yeah, having a place where people know that they can come in at any time and get access to resources or guidance, it's huge, right? That place-based innovation, where the community know they're going to grow a business or they're scaling a business, or they just want to get started about launching a business, they can just come through the doors and have a community that is ready to support them. That's key, right? And we seen in many efforts, like the state is doing business Oregon with the Center of Innovation Excellence. Pendleton is a great example, where we know that if we're looking for help on a specific industry sector, we go to that place. For us to have an office space, co-working, and rapid prototyping space available for entrepreneurs, that makes a huge difference. And we don't have to tap into the cultural nuances. We already know why they do what they do, and we focus on the fundamentals of their business. What is the value proposition, market research, what is their positioning, and the strategy for them to either launch their product, or if they already launched, how they can get it to scale to be able to have that flywheel effect where the funding, sales, and revenue is just coming naturally.
Yep. Yep. That's great that you have offerings for companies that are kind of at the launch stage, but then also the ones that, are in the market and they've got a lot of other kind of newer challenges to figure out as they scale. So what are some of the, I was going to say, what are some of the things that, you're looking at for companies that are in the market, but are trying to scale in terms of your programs?
They need to have the ideal profile of the company. We're looking for the perfect world, and we're looking for companies that have a product already in the market, and they have a little bit of sales. And the founder is already thinking, how I'm going to grow this beyond what I'm doing. That allows us to be able to come in and with the founder look at the needs of the company in terms of not just a strategy for staffing, right? As entrepreneurs, we love to be in the middle of the action. We touch product, we touch sales, we touch finances and fundraising. But when you're growing, I remind the entrepreneurs I work with, once they bring the first staff member, the first employee, or the first couple of employees, and to do a specific job, they're not allowed to do that job anymore. They need to guide the entrepreneurs and share the vision, and be ready to let go of the fun stuff, because most likely you like doing product development. You're going to bring somebody that probably is better than you at product development, and you have to let them do their work, and you got to focus your attention on things that might not be as glamorous as product development, and it involves day-to-day operations, could be finance, could be troubleshooting, other things that your team needs to, other friction points you need to remove for your team to move forward. So definitely market, they need to have product in the market, revenue, and be open-minded for scaling, and bring those first few employees that will help them grow.
That's great. In terms of technology companies that you're seeing, I'm just wrapping up a few days at CES in Las Vegas, Consumer Electronics Show, and people that I've talked to that have been to a lot of these shows have said, well, I couldn't quite tell really what the main, like, narrowly defined theme was this year, but it seems like everything's AI. And I'm wondering, what are some of the things you're seeing across the communities you're serving when it comes to tech startups?
Definitely AI is the and everybody's mindset. And I have told folks, if they're investing at least 30 minutes a day learning about the AI and how they can help them streamline the workflows at their companies or improve customer engagement, they're going to be left behind, right? I think artificial intelligence is definitely here to stay, and we need to understand how to utilize that tool, right? That it might replace some jobs, but also it's going to create new opportunities in other areas. As we were talking earlier before the call, I think regardless of the sector, doesn't matter if you are doing services, consumer packaged goods, or a combination of hardware, you need to figure out what is your technology stack and help you streamline the process. I don't think it's better moment and time to launch a business than it is now, because a lot of software that used to be super expensive is now more affordable and really available with a subscription model, right? If you need to prototype or iterate a physical product, is now an opportunity to be able to do that. I was looking at new 3D printers that, when you look at the way they do prototypes for big pieces of manufacturing, they're almost ready for production, right? Or they give you a very, very good sense of what the final product will look like before you send it to manufacturing. You look into the website and social media engagement when you don't have a marketing team. It's a lot of tools available right now, either artificial intelligence or things that will make you look like you have a whole marketing team behind you. So my recommendation for any entrepreneur is explore artificial intelligence, look at your technology stack and how you can improve your workflows that would allow you to maximize your runway and your reach your market potential.
That's so interesting that there's this clear kind of workforce component, like skill development component that is going to be required of anyone running a business going forward. To your point, it's like kind of it's the next sort of inflection point beyond, say, mobile technology, and before that, the internet, right? And yeah, I think there's huge opportunities there. As we look at like the city of Portland, and with the new form of government in place now and a new mayor, and then with the state of Oregon, do you feel like the local government understands kind of what's needed for supporting entrepreneurs that you're working with? Like, what would you like to see more from the state and city?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Portland. I think the Fox and Prosper have put people in place that have the visibility and experience to support the creation of small businesses, but also they're investing on areas they know that are important, right? When you look at whole strategic plan for the next 5 years for Prosper, they have an idea what we need for entrepreneurs. With that said, they need more bodies, right? It's only one individual looking at supporting small businesses, another program officer supporting climate tech efforts. So I think the city of Portland were to double down on entrepreneurship and supporting businesses, it will be adding more capacity to the current staff because I can tell that they're already tap out, right? It's a lot they're doing with very few individuals, and there's great people working on there. The other piece, probably we hear it, and it's not just Portland, it's all of us, is we gotta figure out this narrative. I know that we're dealing with issues that are happening all across the nation, but for some reason have stuck to Portland, right? Houselessness, we're still dealing with some of the fallout from the pandemic, messiness that we experience in Portland. We need to change the narrative of Portland. We're open for business, and when we're open for business, tap into those local businesses that tell the story through the eyes of the entrepreneur, the members of our community that showcase the Portland that we know and love. And not to mask the challenge we have, right? A new form of government is going to take them a little bit of time for them to come up to speed on how to better operate in this new framework. We have to be patient and take a long-term view on how our elected officials, council and mayor will be able to work together. And if I were to give an advice, I'd give them a year, right? I give a year for them to coalesce together, and we'll see results after that year. But it's a lot of opportunities right now for Portland. If anybody's looking to double down in Portland, it's a great way for them to. It's a great way for entrepreneurs to figure out how to start business in the Portland area. We have a lot of open office space, a lot of retail space that could be activated. That could be an idea, right? If all those Main Street empty retail spaces figure out a way to incentivize pop-ups, right? We have a lot of great coffee scene, right? If we can have more coffee shops, right? From different manufacturers being able to do a retail pop-up shop, right? We have a lot of makers, footwear and apparel that could benefit from having that retail space and an affordable rate, just to incentivize their sales of their products, but also bring people up to the core downtown or other areas. That will be super interesting. But at the end of the day, it's for all of us to change the image of what Portland perception is outside Oregon. I just the people that we're a great city, right? To live, work, and raise a family.
That's great. I think if we look at like, again, this theme of outside of Oregon, you've had some great opportunities presented to Latino founders around what you all are doing in terms of the impact of the work. And not surprisingly, it's resonating in other markets, right? So as you look at opportunities outside of Oregon to help other communities of entrepreneurs, what are you seeing in terms of programmatic interest? Like what other communities need? Is Oregon unique, or are you seeing a lot of common areas of need across the U.S.?
It's definitely some common trends, right? Having that place-based innovation where you, as a Latino entrepreneur, you walk into the room and you don't have to explain why you focus your product and launching it to the Latino market. That's a need, right? People look for that moment where they don't have to explain the why they're focusing their offerings to launch it to the Latino community, and they just focus on the business fundamentals. So having that peer-to-peer learning, mentorship, and access to the resources, that is a common trend. Where I see different, depending on the region, the industry appeal of the sectors, the building businesses changes, right? When we did Pitch Latino Seattle, we have a lot of software, SaaS, software as a service applications, entrepreneurs launching business in the area. When we moved to the Eastern Central Oregon area, we have a lot more services. So I think the appeal for us coming to different communities is we want to have a partner on the ground that understands and facilitate those conversations, and we want to be additive to their efforts and what the community wants. At best, what we can do is we're aiming to do is elevate the narrative of what Latino entrepreneurs are contributing to the economy and the region. I probably just saw the stats. Latino entrepreneurs, Latino community contributes to 3.7 trillion to the national GDP. And when we build that data to the local level, you can see the numbers and the billions of dollars, right? So it's a market opportunity there, not just for Latino entrepreneurs, but for everybody to look at how this growing segment of the population, how we can better serve them with products and services they're looking and need.
Yep. That's great. So as we come to the end of our time, I'm wondering, like, what are some ways that folks that may be listening can potentially support your work? Like, where are the areas where you're looking for additional support, and how might people get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, just look at our messaging and social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and just amplify the message. I think the more people that's aware of what we do and the work that we do, and more than anything, support the entrepreneurs that we are showcasing, that will be great. I think that helps a lot, especially at the local level. When we talk about businesses that have a physical product or a service, being able to invest on them by buying their products and services, that's a huge support for the entrepreneurs. Obviously, we're always looking for mentors, people that are willing to help and work with entrepreneurs. our door is always open. And just because we have the name Latino Founders doesn't mean that you have to be Latino to interact and collaborate with us. We love everybody. Everybody's welcome. So definitely we look forward to have more of those interactions, because that peer-to-peer learning, that lived experiences, that's what makes our ecosystem great, right? If we're able to share those experiences regardless of background, that's what makes us stronger and better. And the last thing I will say, just be curious. If you want to know more about the program, what we do, or you just come and hang out in any space, just reach out, and we'll love to have a cup of coffee and share what we're doing and figure out ways to collaborate.
Excellent. Well, Juan, thanks again for taking some time to join us. It was great to hear more about the work that you all are doing, which is so impactful to the state and beyond. And look forward to continued partnership with the TIO community. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.